Welcome to Monarchy. We're really excited to be with you today. Before we get into our episode and our interview, we'll do a little bit of a pop culture update. We have a Taylor Swift wedding date, June 13th. Oh, cute. 13. She loves that number.
Yay. I don't even know where I saw this, but I was very excited to see that we actually have a date. It's happening in June, everyone. There has been rumors that Blake Lively has not been invited, which I'm very sad. I did a whole deep dive on exactly what happened with the whole Jason Baldoni, Blake Lively lawsuit situation. I still don't really understand how Taylor was that mad at Blake for this situation. But I don't know. We'll find out when the paparazzi leaks photos of the wedding in a few months.
Yeah, can't wait. Do we know where it is yet?
It is in, I do know this. I'm pretty sure it's in Rhode Island at a beach club, at a fancy beach club.
Oh, okay.
Kind of random.
Isn't that where she has her house somewhere there? That one house
Oh,
that they did the whole Taylor Swift tax and she had the, 4th of July parties and everything.
yes. Yes, I think you're absolutely right. So maybe that is the connection. I was actually wondering what the connection was, but now I'm remembering. So we're excited about that. And then we talk a little bit about traders in the interview, but let's talk about it again here. Tanya, have you, and I feel so bad, I kind of gave away a spoiler to you via text earlier, but you've finished the first 3.
Yes, finished the first 3, and I got that spoiler about 15 minutes before you also gave me the spoiler.
Oh, thank God.
So you're not the one that broke it to me, if that makes you feel better.
Okay, it does. It makes me feel better. I also am really sad, speaking of Taylor Swift. Mama Kelsey, what? Of course she was a traitor. Everyone knew she was going to be a good traitor, too. That's why she was voted off.
This is spoilers.
Willie!
Spoiler alert. If you're waiting to watch Traitors all at once, you should just fast forward a couple of minutes here.
Even though we already told you.
We told you the one thing that matters. But I'm very excited. Alan crushing it.
Who are we liking?
Ooh, who are we liking? Well, I always love Lisa Rinna.
Oh,
She's fantastic.
she's so funny. That all, she had a leopard blazer on, and then she had a different pattern pant, and it really worked.
Somehow.
Oh, and the fedora. Who can pull off a fedora these days?
Lisa Rinna can. And then there's Michael Rappaport.
Oh my God. He is causing so much drama on the internet. He's so divisive.
I know. And I think I love him, but I cannot tell.
He's running against Mom Donnie in 2028. Did you see that?
I saw that. He announced it.
Registered to registered. I don't know how they do it in New York, but he's running to unseat Mom Donnie in 2028. He's a lot.
He is a lot. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Something tells me maybe it won't, but whatever. He's very entertaining on the show. I think that he is hilarious.
I'm a faithful, you motherfuckers. He's a lot. Anyway, really, really into traders. Alan Cummings, right, is his last name, the host, just was awarded, I don't know if that's the right term for it, a Hollywood star.
Oh, that's so exciting.
It's just really exciting. There was an unveiling for it, I think, over the last few weeks. And he was also looking fabulous, of course. I think he had a cape on or something.
Again, another person to wear an accessory that we would not dare.
Oh my God. We love you, Alan. Okay, I'm not watching Heated Rivalry. I need to start.
I am watching Heated Rivalry. I'm 3 episodes in. I'm not watching it with my husband, so I have to watch it on my own time and just find little pockets of it. I do. I love it. It's a lot, though.
Is it pretty graphic?
It's really graphic.
Okay, because
It's very graphic.
Dylan said he started it and was it was too much for me. So I'm okay, maybe this will be a show I watch on my own. They were on the two main characters, the 2 guys were presented an award at the Golden Globes last night, and I couldn't tell if it was real or anyway, they did this whole bit together and was I think I need to watch it. So anyway, Heated Rivalry, if you're watching, let us know if you enjoy. There's also one thing I think I would be remiss to say, even though we're we'll skip political updates because we do get into some pretty significant political updates, is the day that this is dropping is January 20th, which is the 1-year anniversary of Trump being inaugurated. So guys,
Boo.
we made it a year, almost. We made it a year.
It was the longest year.
It was a year. I mean, yeah, it was a year.
It was a year. It's been a January. It's been quite the 2026. It's going to be really interesting, January 20th, 2027, to see what our backgrounds are even.
Yeah, I think we should do another. I think this actually is on the docket for us to do another Momarchy fantasy draft where we can just like pick crazy things. Like we could literally just pick the month of January and do a fantasy draft from that because things have been so crazy. I know we get a little into that in the episode, but we're really, really excited to welcome our good friend Alvina Vasquez to the show.
She is a longtime community leader and political strategist who has been at the center of a lot of Colorado's biggest political moments, especially in the last few years. She helped elect Jared Polis to governor the first time around as political director. That's where she worked with Sarah. And she has built very powerful coalitions around Colorado with the consulting firm Strategies 360.
Alvina is a total boss lady. After the Polis election in 2018, she founded her own political consulting firm called Power Map. It was a super successful company that was acquired by SC2, where she is now a lead political strategist. So she brings more than 2 decades of experience in both Spanish language and general market media, as well as Tanya said, political coalition building and all of the things. So we are not going to get super into the nitty gritty of political consulting today, but we are going to at least hear her take on some of these huge political moments that are happening nationally. We're also going to hear about her journey to motherhood, which has been a long one for her and her husband Jahi, and it's such an inspiring story.
We are going to hear Alvina's journey through adoption, the good, the bad, the ugly. It is a really wild story. It is shows you just how strong of a person she is, how amazing some people in this world can be, and then really how hard and what bad actors are out there as well, unfortunately.
So stick around, listen to the whole interview. It's incredibly inspiring. We're so excited to have Alvina Vasquez with us today. She truly does it all. She is an incredible mother, partner, and we are so proud to call her our friend and welcome her to the show. So grab your Nespresso, your LaCroix, your tap water, whatever's getting you through this January. Spike it with whatever your drink of choice.
Just my top water.
Tap water. And let's get into it.
Alvina, welcome to the show. Before we get into it, we want to ask you a few rapid fire questions to get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Coffee or energy drink?
Coffee.
Last show that you binged?
My comfort show is Seinfeld, which, Tanya, I know you know that. I've been binging The Pit.
Oh, have you started season 2?
I did. And then I was like, I watched the first episode and I was like, I can't do this. I have to wait till they're all done because it's too long of a wait. Another show that it's like my comfort, like binge, like I can keep watching. It's probably like Snapped, like when I'm cleaning.
I love Snapped.
I know.
Love that. Okay. Song that you always turn up in the car.
Bedrock by Young Money.
Love it. Is there a song that you would turn down in the car?
I don't think so. We're really into K-pop right now. K-pop Demon Hunters right now. And I actually really like the soundtrack.
K-pop Demon Hunters is so good.
Such a good movie.
I haven't watched the movie. Teddy knows all the songs because they play them at daycare. But they just won Best Animated Film of the Year, right?
I think so, yeah.
It's such a good movie, Sarah. You have to watch it. It's so good.
I will.
It's such a good women empowerment story.
I need to watch it. I really do. Okay. One food that you ate standing up this week or like in transit?
Oh, I make egg rolls. So those are really easy to carry around with you.
Yum.
And are you watching Traitors currently?
I'm not. I don't know. I don't know if I should start.
Do you think you will?
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a question for you guys because I think what's hard for me is like I'm not as into it's so much I mean, I think the last like real reality show that I watched was like Jersey Shore. So I'm like out of tune with like who's popular and who's on what show. I never really got into the Housewives franchise. So I feel like I'd watch that show and be like, I don't know any of these people.
You'll get to know them, I think.
For better or for worse, I also have not watched any of the Housewife franchise, and I'm still like into the characters. There's 4 of them this season.
I mean, put, what was it? Rock of Love people.
Oh my God, Bret Michaels. Can you imagine Bret Michaels just in a castle, like trying to solve anything?
Tila Tequila. She had a great reality show. Put her on there. That's my vibe. I'm now the VH1 generation. I'm no longer the MTV generation.
Well, you do know, Alvina, that they are accepting applications for the first civilian traders. So you could apply
Oh, okay.
and you could be on the next season
All right, I'll start watching.
because no one will know who any of those people are. Okay, last question. Would you prefer to text or call someone?
I love to talk on the phone. It's like my generation.
I was going to say, I already know. Yeah.
Yeah, I can be on the phone for hours.
You're a much better, like, you'll just like call me to catch up.
I know. And then like when people text me, I'm like, they're like, "Can I call you?" I'm like, "Yeah." If I couldn't talk, I wouldn't answer. Like, just call me. Don't text me and say, "Can I call you?"
I think that's why we are such good friends because we don't have to like plan it. Like, yeah, we'll catch up when we catch up.
Yeah, I can talk for hours. I love talking on the phone ever since I was a kid. I mean, that was what we did back then. We just sit on the phone for hours.
Yeah. Well, Alvina, it's so fun to have you on the show. Obviously, we know each other really well. We go way back in the day to our Jared Polis first campaign for governor for those listeners who aren't in Colorado when he first ran for governor in 2017, 2018. So Alvina is amazing, boss lady, powerhouse consultant, but also a wonderful mom and partner and friend to so many. And she's the first strategist who's been on the show. So we're excited to talk with her about that. And then all of the things that have to do with motherhood and parenting and this journey. So it's been a really, really heavy start to 2026. It's been really hard, like every day.
It's been really hard. Yeah, it's been really hard. So my son just started a capoeira class, and the studio is
A what class?
a capoeira. It's like that Brazilian dance fighting.
Oh my gosh.
And it's in that building where America Ferrera and Hillary Clinton had an event
Oh,
at 910 Santa Fe.
yes.
Oh my God.
So I was in there and I was like, oh, wait, this is where America and Hillary had breakfast with me.
That was so funny. I remember, and then we'll get into this, when America Ferrera came, and our office was like an abandoned schoolhouse in the middle of nowhere. And America Ferrera had to come hang out there for a couple of hours. And it was so awkward because it was all of us like stapling signs together and like doing call packets. And America Ferrera just like wandering around this abandoned schoolhouse because there was nothing to do. And there was nowhere to walk. So I'm sorry, America, if you hear this.
She seemed nice. She seems nice.
She was so nice. Yeah, absolutely. Super nice.
We
Okay,
still
so let's
need
get
to do an episode where we talk about the crazy stuff that has happened to us on campaigns, mostly with
celebrity.
surrogates, which is like like the weird word for celebrities. Like I was with Barney Frank at one point, and then he like passed out in an office, and then one of the people that worked on Elise, who we know, had to ride with him in the ambulance. I don't know if I should be sharing this.
Oh gosh, that's crazy.
But the best part is that I'm the one who picked up Barney Frank from the airport, and he left his water bottle in my car.
Oh, and then he passed out from altitude sickness.
Exactly. I was like, your water, don't forget it. And then that was
10 years ago, I'm pretty sure he was at least 70. So, and we were like, you have to drink water.
He came for Polis's event too, remember?
Yeah. Oh, yep. I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. Well, we digress. Let's talk about 2026, guys.
Yeah. Okay. So one day we'll go into that and it'll be funny and we'll figure out what we can and cannot talk about. But
We can have Alvina. We can have you back and we can reminisce.
yeah, 100%.
We have a lot to
So it's been a really convoluted 2 weeks that we started so far. Personally, professionally, news-wise, just the world really crashed into 2026. So there's a couple things that we want Alvina's take on, and we're going to start with Venezuela. And so I'm going to set the scene a little bit. Thank you to my father, Rich Nathan, for being our researcher and
Our research director.
and helping to make sure that we focused on the correct things. So, Trump's hostility towards Maduro started in the last administration. So, this is something that has lasted a very long time. They started intercepting these drug boats and eventually sinking them, outright killing the people on board, and saying that each ship that sank saved 25,000 American lives because he was saying that it was fentanyl in the ships. Ultimately, it ends up being cocaine on the ships, and also his, numbers of how many was that? 25,000 lives per ship would have saved 650,000 lives. Like, 75,000 people died last year of drug overdoses. So, Trump's math, once again, does not math. So, there's that whole issue, and then Trump announced what he called a perfect operation after all of this, removing Maduro and his wife from Caracas, not over drugs, but over oil, leaving a lot of people still there, like gangs in the streets, and a lot of people still in power and pretty chaotic, and promised Americans would get very rich, even though oil companies rejected his plan because there's a depressed market, global shifts towards alternative energy, and now he's looking for different alternatives. So Trump commuted the sentence of convicted former president of Honduras, Juan Orlando Hernandez, calling his prosecution unfair when that came to the war on drugs. And this is just a complete opposite thing. So, with that kind of out there, Alvina, do you think that this was is there any sort of justification in what happened?
No, no. I think if you think back to how Trump became a president, this was all because he was angry there was a black man that was a president and a really good president. Obama had his flaws. He had a big immigration record. He had ICE raids here in Greeley, Colorado. He also was the president that named Venezuela as like a country of concern or whatever the political term is. So he Trump is living in 2012. He's trying to beat Obama's record in the things that Obama did, and he's doing it in a terrible, terrible way. He's trying to dismantle the things that are positive, and he's trying to put the heat on the things that were negative of the Obama administration. I believe that this president really likes to see people of color and poor people. I mean, I don't think that white low-income families should feel like they're safe in this environment. Nobody is safe in this environment, but he is just trying to do the most damage possible because it gets headlines and he likes to see his name in the newspaper. And it's never going to be for anything positive. I mean, I really do think he has dementia. And I know, and I don't throw that out lightly. I don't like when they did that with Biden. He's really living in another world. He's living in another world and he's trying to create the environment to make that world real, which is that he wants to run a third term. So he's putting pressure on people to start a civil war. He's putting these masks goons out into the streets. He wants us to fight. He wants us to create a civil war so that he can be president for a third term. So that's his strategy. And I would say that's his strategy, but that's the strategy of the people around him. Because I think what I learned on the Polis campaign, which was my first political campaign, was that the people around the principal are so important. You almost have to notice more who's around them than who the actual principal is. And so I feel like he put, Stephen Miller, Bannon, all these terrible people in power, and they're not going to want to let it go. I think that the congressional is going to be, I think it's going to be a total wipeout, but then they're going to call into question the elections. Like, there's always going to be another trick up their sleeves to try to take power.
Didn't he just tweet about mail ballots and wanting to,
Get rid of him.
just get rid of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And he's trying to mess with the postal service. I mean, he said that the post date isn't viable anymore, whatever. He's creating chaos, which Ironically, we know from male voting, seniors, elderly people, white people, military are the ones who use male voting.
Young people,
Suburban women,
people with kids.
Republicans, everybody uses male voting.
Alvina, I do have a follow-up. First of all, that was, well, and I should back up. Tanya, excellent recap. Excellent. Thank you to Dad, our research director. But Alvina, I think your take is really interesting. The one thing that I'm curious about is Maduro was not a good person. Like, his regime committed countless atrocities. There's a lot of conflicting emotions, obviously, about all of this. Completely agree that, like, this feels very much like a distraction. It's like the, what is it called? Wag the dog type
Wag the
situ.
dog.
Wag the
Mhm.
yeah. Or is that what it is? Yes,
It's wag the dog, yeah.
that's what it is. So, like, how are you feeling about that?
Obviously, we have friends of ours, even, professional and just friends of ours who are Venezuelan. And I think they have complicated feelings about it, because look at what Trump's doing to this country. Why would it be any better if he's running that country too? Like, it doesn't,
Yeah.
it's not a good situation, because if there's a gap in power, then and this is what we learned in the Middle East. If there's a gap in power, then another bad actor will fill that space.
I agree. I mean, I agree with that. Any other thoughts on this before we move on to our another really tough topic?
Complicated.
Yeah, it is.
It's a situationship.
A situationship. So the other thing that recently happened is Minnesota. So we would be remiss to not talk about this. I think it's really important that we talk about this as parents, as moms, as activists, as, strategists, all the people. Even if you're just a, normal person walking down the street, this was an incredibly terrifying thing that happened that has been obviously all over the news, all over social media. There's been many videos that have come out. So on January 7th, a woman was brutally shot and killed in Minnesota by ICE. It was immediately reported that the woman was being aggressive, that she was an agitator, that she was attacking an ICE agent, trying to run him over with her car, and was shot in a self-defense way by the ICE agent. We have since learned and have seen footage from the ICE agent's body cam and then other angles of people that were bystanders that were there that tells a very different, honestly, terrifying story. So, can we just get what is your immediate reaction to this right now? Like, what happened and how should we be feeling right now in this moment?
I don't think that ICE is law enforcement. I think that they were just paid white supremacists that are terrorizing people of all kinds. I don't think that they're being picky about who they're picking on. But I want to go back to this idea of a third term for our president. Our current president is trying to scam his way into a third term by creating a civil war, by creating unrest. I think that the violence with the legislators that were killed, also Charlie Kirk, and this, like, the temperature just keeps going up and up and up and up. And I think that's on purpose. It's a chaos agent. And he's just really, him and his people are really trying to create so much chaos that he can claim it's a civil war.
I also don't really feel like they are law enforcement. It just doesn't seem like that. And I have been thinking a lot, like, if there is an ICE raid, if there are ICE officers at the mall, at our grocery store, wherever, like, what is the safest, like, what can I do? Like, do I call the police? And is that something where we can say that? Because it's like, I feel like they should be really frustrated with the fact that these agents are just, like, messing shit up and being violent and trying to really do the job of a police officer, but way worse. But, like, it's scary because even, regardless of how you feel about the police and their role in the community and their role as safety, at least there are some sort of guidelines there, I feel, that, like, we can try to stay in. and it just doesn't feel that way for ICE agents.
And they're getting like $50,000 bonuses. I'm sure you guys have seen the ads on the TV. And it's like, bad boys, what you gonna
Yeah.
do? And it's like $50,000 signing bonus. And who's gonna, the people that are gonna take that are probably in part like unemployed, not able to actually be a police officer because they didn't get into the academy. And they, like you said, I do believe that it, and we've talked about this before, like there is a time and a place for when we could talk about immigration reform in a productive way. This is not it.
No.
This is horrific. This is horrific.
In like 2010, 2012, there was an abolish ICE movement. And at the time and this was during the Obama years, is abolish ICE. And at the time I was like, God, that's so progressive. That would never happen. Like, that's never going to happen. Under these conditions, like, Democrats need to run on abolishing ICE because not only are they terrorizing Latino and Black people, but they're terrorizing everybody. Anybody who's like at these raids is being traumatized, from children to, older adults and even seniors being abused and killed by these people. So I hope to see Democrats want to abolish ICE. I hope that needs to be the rallying cry.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where I feel like a lot of people are up in arms about it or as mad about it as they should be because it quote unquote hasn't impacted them yet and they don't like have a direct connection to it, which is just really problematic in general. And it's the same thing that we've talked about with like reproductive rights and abortions, that like why do you need to know somebody who has gone through this to recognize that they deserve better treatment, they deserve to live, they deserve to live. And so it's really like getting out of your own head and thinking, even though this isn't happening down my street, like, one, you're right, it's happening to everybody here. And two, do you want that to be the country that like your child is a part of, that you can explain, oh, that's an ICE agent, they are responsible for taking people away from their families? Like, that's not something that you want to explain to your child.
Well, and like in as you all know, like I live in a rural community, and here in Colorado, that there were ICE raids happening, as in particular in like Steamboat Springs and in Summit County. Literally, the Mexican restaurant that we go to, there was people taken from their jobs. And my kid's school, which has 40% Head Start kids, our school, like most of the like half of the families, their kids did not come to school. Like, people were terrified. They weren't bringing their kids to school. They weren't showing up at construction sites. The restaurants were closed. Like, this has real impact on our economy and our communities. Like, take all the other stuff aside. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent. Like, this is affecting our way of life. And when my son comes home from school and is like, "Oh, my, ex-friend wasn't here all week." And how do you respond to that as a parent? I'm just like, "Oh, well, maybe he was sick," right? It's like, no, his parents were like terrified that they were going to be ripped away from their kids.
Yeah, and I know, my son is in a school with predominantly immigrant teachers, and so that's a fear for us too. Like, could he get mixed up in an ICE raid? And I was thinking about this the other day, like, I can't call my husband. What's he gonna do? I mean, he can't do anything. He's a Black man. He's worse off than me. Can't call the police.
I think about that all the time of like, who do I call?
Yeah, who am I gonna call?
Do I call my boss? I mean, do we know a lot of people? But like, I don't think that it's not going to matter.
No, it's and it makes you focus on. I spend most of my time like focusing on things I can control. Like today, I was like, I'm gonna take the day off work and just clean the house. And I usually have a cleaning lady, but I was like, I need to do this myself. Like, this is what I need to do today.
Okay, well, that was a lot. That was really heavy. And Alvina, thank you for shedding some perspective and light on some of this really tough things that are happening in our communities, in our national politics today. Here on the pod, we talk a lot about parenthood, and like what you just said of like, I just needed a day to like clean my house and do it myself and like have a coffee and just, disconnect is very real. So I think that's important. Like sometimes you just need those things to get through. So you are a mom to a wonderful little boy, and everyone has a very different journey to parenthood. We've shared some of those stories on the pod. Your journey to being a mom has been a very unique one that we haven't heard on the podcast today. So, will you talk us through and our listeners through like your own road and journey to becoming the amazing mom you are today?
Sure. So I had a lot of miscarriages. I had like I lost count, but it was like 7 or 8. It was a lot. And I think Sarah was there with me the last one cuz it was during
Inauguration.
inauguration, and I remember being so annoyed cuz it was like my 7th pregnancy, and I was so annoyed cuz I was like, this is so dumb. It's just like it's not going to happen. Like I already know. Like it was like it's just an annoying thing I have to go through it, and I was like so mad. But so that was my last one. Then I worked on the Biden campaign. We did try a little bit of IVF, but we tried IUI. I got pregnant twice, I think, and then
What is IUI?
that's the one when they inseminate you.
Okay. Yeah.
So I did 2, or no, I think that insurance gave me 4. I did that like 4 times. I got pregnant twice and then miscarried.
Ugh.
I mean, at the time I was 41, I think, when I started going to the IVF doctor, and I was just like wasn't feeling it. I was like, I don't know. Shots every day and all this hormones, like I don't know. I was kind of like, and then she said it's not a guarantee. So then I was like, well, what's the point in that? So then I thought, well, we can do private adoption, not foster adoption, because I wanted the security of a private adoption. So after the Biden campaign, I started our journey. So this was 2021, 2020, 2020, 2021. Obviously, we have a lot of gay friends that go through the adoption process. So I had gone with the first agency that a lot of my people that I know had gone through that were gay couples. So I was like, okay, well, I'll support this, this adoption thing. It was like $30,000 to sign up. And then they do, you fill out the application and you have to do these interviews and everything. And the whole time they're kind of like, these moms are kind of like shady, like you never know like what they're going through. You have to be kind of open to different circumstances and everything. I was like, okay, whatever. And then the state makes you go through a whole other licensing process, which is really interesting because you have to go through a lot. You have to go through medical appointments, psychology questions, couples counseling. Like it's a lot of logistics. And it was so annoying because I had just gotten a new primary care doctor. She was younger than me. And I was like, can you sign this form that says like I'm healthy and can be a parent? And she was like, I don't even know you. And I was like, it doesn't matter because there's like 10 other people that have to approve my application. Like you're not the one person that's gonna like, oh my God, it's so annoying. So so I went through that process, and then I had like one match with a woman that had 2 kids, and the little boy was like 4. She backed out. So when that process, they're like, you should talk to the mom. So we talked to her. She was like, yeah. And we're like, are you sure you want to do this? And she's like, yeah. And then she backed out. Okay. So that was like $5,000 down the drain. And then,
Did you have to pay every time you had like a match? Is that to have contact?
yeah, because the lawyers start the paperwork.
Oh,
So it's the $30K deposit plus $5,000 for whatever. That's so insane.
before you have a conversation with anyone, and they could pull out.
And then they're like, and then you have to make a book, which is like $5,000 to make a book, whatever. Okay, so then we had another match. This one was with our first adoption that the baby came here. That was with Micah. So this was like around Easter, and he was 6 months old. And the whole time that they were calling, this was right when like COVID vaccines started. They were like, you should come out here. The mom already gave up the baby. Like, he's with me. The lawyer told me this. And I kept telling them, like, I don't know, this seems shady. Like, I don't know if this is the right thing. And they're like, no, you have to do it because the baby's already here. Like, he's your baby if you want it. And I like, they kind of talked me into it. I knew it was a little shady, but whatever. So we went to Louisiana. We picked up the baby. Literally, we got off of the airplane. The lawyer picked us up, drove us to a motel, and his wife handed us the baby, like in the parking lot. So we have this baby in the parking lot. It was weird. So Louisiana law is different than the rest of the states because it's French. It's based on French law, not English law.
Oh,
Even my friend who's a lawyer was like, I don't even like they don't even teach you French, like they don't even teach you Louisiana law in law school because it's so unique than the other states. So it's kind of like we're kind of like, okay, well, I guess this seems like this is what they do here. So
this is what they do in France. So I don't know. They just hand you babies
they
in
hand
parking
babies
lots.
off in the freaking lot.
It's not funny, but it is.
So crazy.
So so after 5 days, they have to do the paperwork and everything. We brought the baby home. My community was so supportive. Sarah and others put a baby shower, like a last minute baby shower together for us. It was exciting but scary at the same time because I kind of knew that, like, something was up with this. Like, I always had a weird feeling about it.
And it was so fast.
It was so fast.
Like I remember you just being like, "Hey," I think I called you and you were like, "Yeah, we're like on a plane. Like we are going to get our baby." And it was like so shocking that it was so fast and we were like, "Well, hopefully that is a good thing." But like, how would you know that there was anything else going on?
So we got home on Saturday. On Monday, the lawyer calls us and say the father is protesting the adoption. And he's a young black man. He was like 19 at the time. And he has this gun charge, so it's not going to go anywhere, but he's claiming all this stuff, that he was the primary caretaker.
He was in jail, correct?
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He just had charges, but he hadn't actually gone through the justice system yet. So then, but they're like, oh, he's a criminal. You know what they say about black men. So whatever. So I was like, okay. So we have the baby for like 100 days because we had a 100-day party. So for those 100 days, it's like we're back and forth with the lawyers. So the baby has its own lawyer. And that lawyer had called me and said, this is shady. The father is actually the primary caretaker and his mom. The mom that put the baby up for adoption was not the primary caretaker at the time. She took the baby from him and then placed him for adoption over the weekend.
She got paid, right?
She got paid. Yeah, she got paid. She got $5,000 from me.
Oh my God.
So then, well, technically
So
it's not for me. I give it to the lawyer and then the lawyer writes them a check. But
So maybe the
every
lawyer
time I talk to the lawyer, I get charged $250 too. So it's almost like every week it's another $250, $300. And then that lawyer for the baby calls me because the state assigns a lawyer to the baby, and then obviously the father had a lawyer, and then I had my lawyer. So that one lawyer for the baby calls me, and like I was like in tears so then I call my lawyer and I'm like, well, this lady says that this is like a fake adoption and that it shouldn't ever happen. And they keep reassuring me like, oh no, it's fine. He's not a good guy, blah, blah, blah. So we end up in court to like finalize what's happening. We get there, they say, it's like all those procedures, whatever. So we take a break so they can go over the evidence. The evidence that the father had brought was like receipts, pictures of the baby's room, receipts of the baby food and the diapers, testimony and statements from the parents and community saying that he was the primary caretaker. So the lawyer comes to us during the break and says, well, it looks like if it were up to me, like this guy is right. Like he was the primary caretaker.
That's like your lawyer saying.
This is what our lawyer's telling us now.
And how much time had passed?
The judge, he's like ready to like punch this guy.
Jahi was like,
Because he's like, what the fuck? Like this guy was stringing us along this whole time. And now he's like, well, sorry, wasn't your baby. But we didn't take the baby with us to Louisiana. We left the baby here because it was COVID. And I was like, what are we going to do with the baby while we're in court? So after the drama, we're like, yeah, we'll just surrender the baby. So the father comes to talk to us and he's like, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Like, this was not me. This was her. And he's crying. And, he was a kid. and he's crying, he's upset, and he's like, when can I see the baby? And I was like, the baby's not here, the baby's in Colorado. Oh my God, he got so mad, which I get it. He was so mad. It's fine. So his parents were super gracious, and they're very apologetic that this happened to them. But he couldn't leave the state because he had those pending charges. So we came home, and then his parents met us at the airport in like 2 days later, and took him home. So it was like he was here. We built this whole baby's room, all of this stuff for him, and then he was gone. It was the most hurtful thing to ever happen to me. It was awful.
So awful.
And was that mom ever charged with like kidnapping? Like,
No.
Obviously I lived through this happening in real time as a friend to you. I think hearing it back again, I'm sure it brings back like a lot of hurtful, traumatic memories. And it's like, how can our system be so broken that this could happen to you and Jahi, right? Like, how many other
Oh,
people
I
that
know.
just
And
want to be parents, that just want to care
and
for another
actually,
kid?
we didn't know anybody that this had happened to, but we have to work with an adoption agency in the state. And our like counselor here had reached out to us it was about this time last year, and said this happened to another family in Arvada.
Oh, same company though?
Well, no, it was a different adoption company, but the same like Colorado. There's like only 2 agencies in Colorado, really, and they have to kind of transmit all the paperwork. And so the same thing happened to them right before Christmas. Like my thing happened in August.
Oh, God.
Theirs happened right before Christmas, and they had the baby since he was a newborn.
Oh, my God.
So they had to give it up at 3 months, and it was a baby girl. So I was happy that they reached out, and I was able to connect with them and be like, it's awful. You shouldn't like live in that and feel those things because it's terrible. It's terrible. You have every right to be angry, mad, also happy that the child is with its family, but also like furious that this happened to you. Because that was the other thing. It's like, this wasn't a divorce. Like, that was not our baby. Like, that was not our kid. Right? Like we had the only choice was to give him back. So it's complicated because you're mad that this happened to you. You're glad the baby's back with its rightful parents, but you're like, it's the worst. But I think the best part was just like my community. Everybody around was just so like, I feel like when there's traumatic events, there's people that kind of are afraid of it and they disappear. And there's people that move in closer. And so I was just really appreciative of people that would text and call and go the extra mile just to check on me.
after such an intense situation, how did you obviously you have a son now and he's wonderful. So
Yeah.
how did you get from that devastating point to this?
Yeah. So speaking of community coming together, so there's a friend of mine that had gone through the adoption process using a different firm out of Texas. And so she called them and told them this horrible thing that happened to them. And so they said, oh, well, we'll interview her. So we interviewed and they were like, well, we don't really take more than 40 families that are waiting because it's like too much to manage, but we'll sign you up. But here's the thing. Jahi was really specific about wanting an Afro-Latino baby. And I was kind of like, wishful thinking, buddy. Like, I don't know if that's possible because in our communities, we tend to like pass our babies around before we like give them off to strangers, right? So we signed up with this. And then I think they knew they had this birth mom since September that wanted an Afro-Latino family, and they didn't have any other Afro-Latino families in the waiting list. And so we signed up with them in November, like early November. And then on Thanksgiving, we got matched and we picked up the baby on December 8th. It was like,
So fast.
it was so fast.
It was kind of like, in a weird way, like it was kind of meant to be.
It was totally meant.
That Romero was like meant to be with you and Jahi.
Oh, totally. He like might as well come from our lines. Like we are so surprised every day that he is not from us.
But you're like, he is from you. Like you guys are such amazing parents and friends and community members, all the things. So like, of course you're going to raise an amazing kid. And he's just like so happy and funny and like, yeah.
Wait, so how old was he when you brought him back to Colorado?
So we got the call on December 8th that his birth mom was going into labor. No, she wasn't going to labor. She felt like the baby wasn't moving. She was really worried that the baby was sick or something. But the adoption people were like, the baby's fine. Babies don't move this close to their due date, because the baby was due December 13th. And so I said, okay, well, let's go. There's no flights to El Paso. He was born in El Paso. There's no flights to El Paso. So we just drove. We left at midnight and we got there at 8, and he was born at 10, and we were there day one.
Oh my gosh. That's
from that moment. And we got to meet his birth mom. So before like, part of the paperwork is like having a birth plan. So the birth mom has a birth plan. Her plan was to have the baby for the first night, and then we could have the baby the second night. And then you put the baby's name that you want and all this stuff, which I was kind of weird about picking a name after what had happened. I was like, I don't want to commit to another name. So I picked a family name, and it actually fits him really well. And so she didn't go by the birth plan. Once she met us and she saw his name, she was like, no, that's your baby.
Wow, what a strong person on her end, too.
Let me get a
You're gonna make us all cry, Alvina.
I know, I'm sorry. She loved his name. So his original birth certificate has his name now. So when you adopt, the baby has a birth certificate when it's born, and then when the adoption papers are final, it gets a new birth certificate. And so his paperwork is seamless.
Alvina, you have such an incredible story. So thank you. We know sometimes it's hard to share, like happy tears, sad tears. It's an incredible story. And obviously, one of the many reasons why I love you is you're such a strong woman and a strong mom. What advice would you give to someone who's navigating their parenthood journey right now?
I was talking to a friend of ours who just had a baby, and she was telling me about her labor process. And I told her this funny story. When we were driving in the middle of the night to go pick up the baby, my friend and my sister were talking because they were going to try to get the house ready. And my friend was like, oh, poor Alvina, she's got to drive. And my sister was like, no, sorry, that's labor. It's very inconvenient. It's a pain in the ass. It's terribly challenging. Like, that's just her labor journey. And so that's what she wanted. So that's what she gets. But it's true. Like, everybody has their own labor journey, whether it's them physically or like just the process of it. Like, it's not easy. It's just, there's no easy way to do it.
If somebody is, going back and forth, one, do you think that this is something where, like, if you adopt, like, you want to adopt? Or if somebody's going back and forth, what do you think, like, it's important for them to know? What's a deciding factor there?
I think the adoption system is super fraught with problems. I think it's a very expensive process. I think throughout everything, it ended up costing us about $100,000. And that's a commitment you have to make, because I don't know what kind of feelings or challenges that would bring later on when you're trying to afford to have the child in school, doing activities, and living its best life, right? So I think you just have to be committed to the flexibility of it, go in with compassion, because a lot of these birth moms have challenging lives. After we have the baby, it doesn't end, right? We had to do 6 months of counseling, and we have to send in pictures and report cards for the baby. So you're still under watch for 6 months. So it doesn't just end when you have the baby. It's another 6 months of paperwork and stuff. So I don't know if I know some people are like, I'm gonna adopt, like, that's what I'm gonna do. I never had that feeling, but I knew it was what our path was going to be once I decided. And after Micah left, I'm talking to 2 women, which I'm sure that this happens to in your household. You tend to, like, take over logistics of things, and the husbands are kind of just in the background. But after that situation with Micah, like, Jahi really took the lead. Like, he was like, nobody's going to fuck with us anymore. I'm taking over now. And he yelled at those people, that other adoption firm. He yelled at them.
I would not want to be yelled at by Jahi. Like, he's the nicest person, but like, I could see that if he was mad at you, like, you don't want to cross it.
No. So it's definitely a partnership. Like, if you're doing it on your own, you can't. I have a friend who adopted as a single parent, and I don't know how she did it. That's hard.
So switching gears just a little bit, like, obviously you're a political consultant and strategist and operative here in the state. Some of these things feel a little bit more personal to us because we're, like, in it every day. How have the issues that you care about shifted, or maybe didn't shift, since becoming a parent?
You know what is actually more apparent is like since my parents are older,
Mm.
I'm worried about their social security. I'm worried about their health care, making sure they have enough money to pay the bills because if they don't, then I'm paying their bills. So it's more that I'm living in this world where I'm taking care of my parents and I'm taking care of a toddler, and that's exhausting. So I really don't, people must think, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. People must think, oh, you're a political operative. All you do is follow politics and read politics and watch politics. And it's like, no, I don't. I don't actually. I get glimpses of it. I work in communities, so I know what community's feeling and what they're dealing with. But at the end of the day, I just have to make sure that we're all fed and clothed and everybody's safe in their house. And my parents are safe. My toddler's safe. Like, that's the primary.
Yeah, we talk a lot about that on the pod where like we wanted to bring something to people where it wasn't just all politics and policy because like that's not us. Even in our day-to-day jobs, like we're not like devouring the New York Times every morning. I rely on snippets and clips and information from friends and family to get my news. And I think that's like where a lot of people are. Like we're so busy.
I think that is true.
I bet it happens with you both too, where somebody will ask you, like, oh, did you see that this vote just happened? And I'm like, I either lie and I'm like, what are your thoughts? Like, or I'm like, no, where would I have seen that? Like, I've been busy. I've been on Zoom calls.
Yeah, in between like, yeah.
I worked in news and broadcasting for a long time, and that was, like, when I worked in the news, like, I always knew what the weather was. I always knew what the TV schedule was. Like, I always knew what was going on TV, and now because there's so many ways to get information, like, I ask Alexa what the weather's gonna be like, I used to know the weather. Like, the weather was, like, top of the news. Like, I know what the weather's gonna be like this whole week. And now it's like I ask Alexa every day, "What's the weather gonna be like?" Because I can't even track the weather.
Well, Alvina, we're going to go into our last segment, which really kind of goes into, I think, our emotions right now of just not giving a fuck. So it's DGAF 2026 edition. It is just what do you not give a fuck about right now? What do you not care about that might surprise people or that you used to care about or quote unquote should care about that is going on this week that you're like, eh.
Okay, one thing we haven't talked about yet is my child just turned 4, and these 4-year-old tantrums,
Oh,
I do not give a fuck about. Like, I don't want any of that in my house because his like, I never had terrible 2s or terrible 3s, but his attitude right now
he's testing you.
is way too intense. Yeah, too many thoughts coming out of him that I'm like, no, we can have a glorious morning getting ready. And then right when it's ready to get the shoes on, it's like, I don't want those shoes. I don't want you to put my shoes on. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Find somebody else to put your shoes on because it's not going to be me.
I call it, my son is in that now, but I call it the three-nager stage because I also didn't think terrible twos. I'm like, what is terrible twos? And it like everything could be going amazing. And we had this like amazing day. Like I took my son to Disney on Ice. Alvin, I don't know if I told you that, but I took Teddy to Disney on Ice. We had this great day, went down to Denver, and then got home and it was like World War III. Like, what is happening? I took you to Disney on Ice. We had an amazing day. You were like super talkative, engaged, happy, and like all hell broke out.
So compared to 2025 mothering of like trying to meet his needs and making sure he's talking and going potty, now I'm like, all right, well, you want to be grown up? You be a grown up then. That's the 2025 mom versus 2026 mom.
Tanya, are you not giving a fuck about something this year that we haven't heard before?
Maybe right now it's that Wally is just losing his mind and I can hear crying babies. So whatever's going on out there can just happen while we finish this for 15 minutes. And I suppose that's mine. It was going to be not getting pedicures, but this has trumped that.
That's so funny. It's funny that okay, that's not mine. But I also have been thinking about that. I'm like, God, I love getting my nails done. It's like my one like self-care thing. And I haven't done it in like months. Like, is this just never gonna happen again? It's mostly a time thing too. I'm like, I just don't have the time.
It's a time thing. Okay, so what's your thing, Sarah?
So much, guys. It's hard to choose. I I can't say this on the pod. Never mind. A conflict for work. I am honestly, I am not giving a fuck about my hair in a way that, like, I guess I've never really cared that much, but at this I told Tanya right before we and this will be a this week thing, right when we got on the pod to record. I was like, I put a hat on because I just can't. There's nothing I can do to make my hair look nice. Like, I went and got my hair cut before the holidays, and it still looked bad, I feel like. I just can't I don't have time. I do not have time to blow dry it. I put it in a blow ponytail. Like, I can't do it. Yesterday, I had a work event in Denver, and I tried to, like, curl some of my hair. It looked like shit because I curled it the wrong way, and then I tried to curl it the other way, and then it was, like, kind of crimped, and then I just had to bobby pin it onto my head. I'm like, why do I even try? I don't give a fuck about this.
I mean, I feel like we're in a place where our minds are being split into multiple verses all of the time. And so you just care a little bit about some things and you care a lot about other things, but you can't really think about it because if you do think about it, it's so scary and depressing that you end up focusing on a toddler tantrum. But really, like, I'm afraid of ICE agents showing up to his school. Like, that's what I'm worried about. But let's take away screen time. We did take away screen time, which also means I don't get screen time, which is probably good for everybody.
Oh, 2026, we're here. Figuring it out.
We're here. Well, thank you, Alvina, so much for joining us. It's really nice to see you, to talk to you. I'm sure that, well, we'll hopefully see you and talk to you in a less professional, if this is professional, capacity
I know
soon.
we should, like, make you a regular on the show, Alvina.
I would love to.
I feel like we had so many questions, and we only got, like, through 5, I think.
I know. I would love to. I miss my podcast, so I'll totally do yours.
Well, you're amazing. Thank you for sharing your story. You're so inspiring on so many levels. And we didn't even get into like being a political consultant. So that will be something for another day.
So the like assistant to the attorney sent me a letter like apologizing for everything that happened. So in the next podcast,
Ooh,
we'll read the letter.
this could be like Serial, our version of Serial,
It's just Alvina's life.
featuring Alvina. But seriously, thanks for joining. A pleasure always. You're amazing.
Love you guys.
We love you. Leave a rating or a review if you haven't, people. It really helps other people find the show. Subscribe. We're on YouTube. If you're watching us, hello. Our backgrounds are getting better, as we always say.
Progressively, one day.
Yeah, Tanya has a lamp in the background now, so it's
Can you see it?
yeah, it looks great.
Oh, good.
I love it. But thank you, as always, to all of our loyal listeners. And if you liked this, please share it on Instagram, Substack, YouTube, all the things. And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye.